Chapter 4 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. In this chapter, Robert Kiyosaki discusses the history of taxes and how corporations can be used to reduce your tax liability. He argues that the rich use corporations to their advantage, while the poor and middle class pay the majority of taxes. Kiyosaki begins by discussing the history of taxes. He argues that taxes were originally designed to be a fair way to raise revenue for the government. However, over time, taxes have become more complex and unfair. He points out that the rich have been able to avoid paying taxes by using loopholes and tax shelters. Kiyosaki then discusses how corporations can be used to reduce your tax liability. He argues that corporations are taxed differently than individuals. Corporations are only taxed on profits, while individuals are taxed on all of their income. This means that if you can start a corporation, you can reduce your tax liability. Kiyosaki also discusses the 4 most important business skills for financial freedom. These skills are accounting, investment strategy, market law. He argues that if you can master these skills, you will be well on your way to financial freedom. The key message of this chapter is that you need to understand the tax system and how to use corporations to your advantage if you want to become rich. Here are some key takeaways from the chapter. The rich use corporations to reduce their tax liability. Corporations are taxed differently than individuals. There are 4 important business skills for financial freedom: accounting, investment strategy, market law, and law. If you want to learn more about how to reduce your tax liability and build wealth, I recommend reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. It is a great book that will teach you the basics of financial literacy. Here are some additional thoughts on the chapter. Kiyosaki's discussion of the history of taxes is informative and thought-provoking. His explanation of how corporations can be used to reduce your tax liability is clear and concise. His discussion of the 4 most important business skills for financial freedom is helpful and practical. Overall, Chapter 4 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is a valuable resource for anyone who wants